This is their game plan. Who's responsible for this? Well, we know who it is. In a hotspot over in the Middle East, we might be on the brink of World War III. The Islamic Republic could attack Israel in the next 24 to 48 hours. Biden's Treasury, on top of all of this, okay, on top of all these bad numbers that we're seeing, they've also been accused 3 hours ago of trying to juice the U.S. economy pre-election. This is their game plan. We've already been watching them do this in real time. No, look at jobs are amazing. What jobs? You mean full-time jobs for Americans? No, we mean part-time jobs for illegals. Oh, well, that's not really a good metric that we're all that interested in, but they are, so they just use those numbers. The Treasury Department is accused of trying to juice the economy ahead of the election by changing how it finances government spending. But this proves that everything, even wonky bond market auctions, can turn into a political fight, saying the big picture is that the Treasury is trying to borrow money at the lowest cost to the taxpayers and in the most boring, least attention-grabbing way possible. Now, Republican lawmakers and at least one renowned economist say its strategy has been at odds with the Fed's goal of slowing the economy. Short-term debt is becoming a rising share of all outstanding debt. Lower rates mean stronger economic activity, the opposite of what the Fed might be trying to achieve with the interest rates. Now, some people believe, including myself, says Senator Bill Hagerty, believe that they're mixing the numbers around to artificially stimulate the markets in the run-up to the election, which is really bad because when you do that, right, you create bubbles and then things pop. Two former Treasury advisors, prominent economists Nouriel Roubini and Stephen Moran, write in a newspaper that officials are manipulating the financial conditions and the economy, usurping core functions of the Federal Reserve. While we have no smoking gun, I would say if it walks and quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. And so Treasury Janet Yellen says, nope, we've never discussed anything like this. We're doing everything appropriately. They say this isn't malicious intent, but rather the Treasury is trying to prevent a full-blown bond market meltdown by issuing too much in the wrong spot and pushing interest rates higher in the process. It's like, it feels like just a house of cards, like we're all just tap dancing on the head of a pin. The bottom line, toss theories of malicious intent on the part of Treasury officials to the side. It still whether it's intentional or not, this is precarious and it could be big trouble. And so who's responsible for this? Well, we know who it is. It's Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They've been in charge for the last 3.5 years. They don't get to just say, oops, Kamala's a brand new face or something and she's going to fix it. We know who did it. So in addition to this, it's not just stocks are problematic. We are also in a hot spot over in the Middle East. We might be on the brink of World War III. Biden, as of this morning, is going into the Situation Room. I don't know what for. What Situation Room? Like, did he make a situation again? That Situation Room or like the Situation Room? The Joe Biden has a Situation Room or where they address pending matters of global importance? It's like, hey, Joe Biden has a situation again. Did you bring the diaper bag? All right, take him back. You know where it is. All right, President Joe Biden is scheduled to meet with his national security team. The Islamic Republic could attack Israel in the next 24 to 48 hours. Yes, it's always like that, I think, right? Is that not always the case? Secretary of State Blinken told the G7 yesterday that an attack in response to Israel taking out that dude with that bomb is imminent. Meanwhile, Lloyd Austin reportedly spoke to Israeli counterparts. It would be the second time during the growing crisis in the Middle East that Iran has directly attacked Israel, first being when it sent other missiles in, they just shoot them out of the sky. But unlike the April attack, the U.S. admitted in a private call it didn't know what the expected strike would look like. Iran has clearly signaled that it intends to attack its foe, claims our government, claiming it has the legal right to respond. And spokesman said no one has the right to doubt Iran's legal right to punish the Zionist regime. So this is someone from Iran. The threats from Iran come just hours after Hezbollah launched 30 missiles. Okay. And stark footage from the region showed Israel's Iron Dome air defenses intercepting them. Despite this, 2 Israeli troops were wounded, which also set off a fire in northern Israel. Sounds like this is the standard stuff going back and forth that's been going on for the last, how many months has this been? A lot of months. We urge all involved parties to refrain from perpetuating this. Japan and Turkey were told today to leave Lebanon. Things are getting hot over there too. It's not just that. Israel, they say, is bracing for impact, bracing for an Iranian attack that could come within hours. 24 to 48 hours is what they say. Meanwhile, the U.S. is actually sending a bunch of stuff over, more warships, more fighter jets to the Middle East to bolster its defenses. So the U.S. military is sending a bunch of stuff over there, the Pentagon said on Friday. U.S. is bracing for an attack. Lloyd Austin has approved sending additional Navy cruisers and destroyers, which can shoot down ballistic missiles to the Middle East, also sending an additional squadron, ordered adjustments to U.S. military posture. There's been speculation the Pentagon might not replace the Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, but Austin decided to rotate the Lincoln Carrier Strike Group in there, of course. The U.S. military also intensified its deployments. At the time, Israel successfully knocked down almost all of roughly 300 drones and missiles with the help of U.S. and other allies. So they just keep launching and nothing, right? So I don't know, is this going to be a bigger strike? I guess that's what they're preparing for. Iran warns pilots to avoid the airspace as well. So Secretary of State Blinken said Sunday an attack could happen today or tomorrow. Iran also issued notice to pilots to avoid its airspace. So is this the brink of something, or is this the brink of another nothing? Iran's notification on not that what's happening over there is nothing. Obviously, it's a war, but it's like, okay, what I'm asking is the U.S. going to be drawn into this? Is this going to be nation state versus nation state now? Is this going to escalate into Iran versus Israel, or is this going to still be a bunch of, these entities? How is the United States, in other words, going to be drawn into this thing even more? Is it going to be finally a nation state versus nation state thing? U.S. officials have been working with their international partners to try to contain the tensions. I don't really believe that, actually. I think that they all want war. I think they're all just giddy for war. They all come out and tell us, we don't want war. We don't want to escalate these conflicts. We want peace. I don't think so. Then why do you keep doing this stuff to escalate it from both sides? The notification from Iran about its airspace, typically used by aviation authorities to provide essential real-time information, it's just escalating, right, month after month, and maybe this is the final escalation. So that's what's happening over there in the Middle East, and things are obviously getting precarious. When our side starts pounding the drums, the war drums, we start to get nervous about that, because they could really use another black swan to help them with their election shenanigans.